our episode today. It's titled Dear Vietnamese Straight Families. And it's an important topic for us today in honor of Pride Month, the month of June. And with me, I have two special guests. If you remember, Duy Pham, he came to us previously before.
Thank you. Hello. Very nice to be here.
Thanks for coming back. And then a new face today. We have Nguyễn, Victor. And maybe each of you could tell the audience a little bit about yourself. That would be great.
Yes, my name is Duy Pham, so I'm a clinical social worker. Yes.
Like Duy, I am a drama therapist. I'm not finished with school yet, but while I'm doing that, I'm also a performer, stand-up comedian, filmmaker.
An artist, basically.
Yes.
And you know, we love to do the talk shows because we discuss very important topics for our Vietnamese American community. But without our sponsor, this would not be possible. So we'd like to thank our sponsor, Work to Future, for giving us the funds so we can do this. So out there, if you want us to talk about specific topics, please feel free to send us an email at chopsticksalley@gmail.com. And then just a little bit about Work to Future. What Work to Future does is help place youth in the Santa Clara County. And what they do is basically, if you're looking for an internship for the summer, their doors are open right now. So if you're 24 or younger, go ahead and send an email or look up worktofuture1.org. And you can get some more information, or you can also send us an email and we'd be glad to share the information with you. So if you're a youth and you're looking for work for the summer, Work to Future is a place. Thank you. All right, so let's get right into the meat of the matter, right?
Yes.
I know this is a very difficult topic, and we're first of all very thankful that you're both open enough to come here and discuss this with us. And as you know, with the Vietnamese American families, when they think of being gay or being from the LGBTQIA plus community, you know, they think of it more like it's a white disease, that it's something you can catch. And not only that, if you can catch it, that also means you can cure it, right? So these are some stereotypes.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways that you know, how does your community handle the stereotypes, and what are some struggles that you have?
You want to go first?
I will say that I was raised by my mom and also my gay uncle, and so I didn't grow up having those stereotypes in the same way. I heard about them, but it didn't attach to my heart because of the way that my uncle was and how accepting my family was.
Well, you're very lucky. I would say your situation is very different than most.
Yeah. I think for myself, it's more like, you know, because when I know who I am, there's the fear that I have to carry every day. I am afraid that the family will notice, the society will figure out who I am. So the fear that I constantly, you know, carry, so that is not a pleasant feeling for me. So it's really hard. Yeah. Yeah.
And so some families also pretend that it doesn't exist, right?
That's correct. Yeah, because it's really this kind of a sensitive topic, right? So it's just hard for the parent to talk about it and to open up and then talk, you know, openly, freely about it. So yeah, this is really hard. So that's why sometimes we just try to put it under drop, you know, don't talk about it and try to let it go, and hopefully, you know, over the time, you know, things will get back to normal.
Right, you'll be cured.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really quite unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, you know, language also can be a problem because in English, at least we have terms, right? Maybe we can define it. L is
it's like lesbian. G for like gay, LGBT,
B,
like bisexual,
T,
transgender, Q like queer.
And then we have IA plus now. So I is intersex.
Yes.
And then
A is asexual, and plus there's many more that's who identify for whatever that they define themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in Vietnamese, we really only have
either male and female, or masculine and feminine, right? So just only two gender that we box ourselves in that. So it's really difficult for particular for the Vietnamese with the LGBT population, because it's difficult for them to express, who they are.
Yeah. I mean, we have the word đồng tính, right,
Yeah.
which means
gay, homosexualities, yeah. Another term is we call BD, which is, I think, is more equivalent to the English is called like faggot. So which is really like is a term that try to put you down.
Derogatory.
Yeah.
So the word BD comes from the French word root BD, and it's actually a derogatory term for the French as well. So definitely we don't want to use that term anymore. And really đồng tính, I think, is the
that's more gender way, to say it,
Right, but there's really no definition for the other words though. Đồng tính just means same sex.
Same sex, yeah.
Like homosexuality, but for all the other class, I mean, do you know? Actually, you should share with us your story about, the term "dân" that you came up with.
Yeah, also when I was in the Bay Area, in Oakland, and actually everywhere, a couple different cities, my community, we get together and we speak Vietnamese over Vietnamese food, and we are together. And my very first Bông Viet, which is the dinner that I went to, we said our name and our pronoun, but my Vietnamese is not very good, and so I said Tân to Jack, let Jack, and I didn't say G or am or an, and I didn't know what to say, so G is older sister, An is older brother. I put G, An together for Jan.
Jan. So Jan is like lemon, if we were to say that.
Yeah, and because I said that in community right then, and we were all together, it kind of caught fire, and there was just a magic there. But I want to say that I'm sure there are other people out there that came up with Jan too,
right?
And that it wouldn't catch on if it was just like my brain. I feel like it was like our brains and our hearts and our minds all in the same place. That's why it caught this magical, fierce force.
I think it's lovely, and at least for the viewers who are able to tune in today, you're going to walk away with one more Vietnamese term. So besides the derogatory term and also đồng tính, you now have dân as the better or more politically correct term, if you will, right?
Yeah.
So speaking of identity and I guess the words, how do you identify yourselves?
So I would say for myself, I consider myself gay, so which in Vietnamese is đồng tính. Yeah.
And what about you?
In English, I identify as queer and also non-binary transgender.
And what does that mean?
For me, it means that I don't identify with the traditional gender binary of male or female, so that's non-binary, and transgender is a big umbrella for that my sex that I was assigned at birth, which was female, does not match with my gender. So I had to go through a transition process.
I see. So for those of us who are having difficulty really understanding this or trying to be politically correct and understand, or even have a curiosity, and I know our audience wants to know, when it comes to there's gender and then there's sexuality, right? So gender, I guess we would say, is what society identifies as male or female.
Yes,
right?
I think so. That's what the society expects. When you born, either you're male or female, masculine or feminine. That's it, right? But this is complicated topic. It is really hard to understand. So that's just for my understanding for gender. But for sexuality, that's when you attract to whoever regardless their gender. Either male or female. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So for you, because you identify yourself as gay, you'd be attracted to another male.
Male, yes. Yeah.
And then for you, because of your definition, I don't even know what it means. So for our audience, who would you be sexually attracted to, or what is a sex, or whatever that is, if you could help us understand?
One reason for me that I identify as queer is because there are so many different genders beyond man, woman, that if I said I was a lesbian, traditionally that is a woman and another woman, but I don't identify as a woman, and so for me, queer really is a way to talk about, it leaves room for the many different genders. Not to say that gay and lesbian are closed, but it didn't work for me.
And basically, it almost feels like when it comes down to it, love is love, right? It shouldn't matter what their sex is, right? Yeah. But the state of Oregon, I'm actually quite impressed with them. They have, now it's legal for them, when you go to get a license, an ID, they have male, female, or X. So they recognize that there's a third plus, if you will. So maybe someday in the state of California and also all over the US and all over the world, we have that extra box, right?
Well, actually, there's something in my work that because I provide counseling, mental health counseling for adult and senior population. So we do, when they fill out the form, they do have that box. For now, beside female and male, and we put another box.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. It's how do we, for people who think like who cares, it doesn't matter. It does, because when you think about the other thing, like us, like when I first came to the U.S., I remember you have to check these boxes, like Mexican, Asian, whatever. And then there's Pacific Islander, and I'm like, well, am I Pacific Islander? I don't really know. So it does matter, because identity is part of who you are, and to be recognized. It's important. So now I want to see a Vietnamese box. I don't just want to see Asian box, right?
Correct.
Is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think identity is tricky. There are pros and cons to it, but one of the pros is it's very hard to fight for rights without having a label or an identity to advocate for. And so that's something that we need as well, even though it can sometimes box us in or put in alphabet soup, they say, LGBTQQIA. They're like, that's too many letters to say. But it is important until otherwise people are lost or not even recognize that their existence is here and matters.
I think you make a good point. So for our politicians, for our systems, we have help for male, female, women's shelter, male, but there's no the in-between. Right? Where would you go? It's almost like that whole bathroom issue. You're not male, you're not female. Where do you go? Where do you go for help? Right? So it's important. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. When it comes to hate crimes, right? Not only, of course, towards gays, it's really bad, the hate crime, but also studies shows that almost 90% of all LGBTQIA homicide victims are people of color. And of that, 72% of them are transgender women. So what it means is that for Vietnamese who identify themselves as queer, it puts them doubly at a disadvantage. And you do you experience fear when you are out in the world?
I mean, for me, yes, definitely I do, like for being a Vietnamese minority, that's also one layer already, and on top that now you're gay. So it's a double layer, right? So definitely there's a fear when I go into the certain places. I need to be self-conscious, to be like, need to be behavior the way that society expects. So definitely it's the fear that I always constantly, have to tell myself, to behave the way that the society expects sometimes.
Have you experienced violence yourself?
No, not into myself.
Yeah, after I had an experience where I think in 1 week when I was traveling, it happened to be in New York, and I was called a lot of not so nice names, and there was someone who threw bottles right at my head. It unfortunately missed me. I mean, it's been hard for me to shake it, and so even when I came back to the Bay Area, it's still a constant thing of, oh, do I want to hold my partner's hand today, or where are we? And I did not appreciate until that level. I was like, oh, when we're at a club or a party that is for queer trans people, especially queer trans people of color, it feels so precious to me and sacred. And I don't know if people understand. If you're afraid to hold your partner's hand in public or to be seen for who you are, it's very dangerous.
Yeah. I think that's unfortunate that this happens, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that this happens to you. And as a minority person myself, I get the discrimination, but the level of discrimination that you both experiencing, I cannot, ever experience, and I'm sorry.
I think it's also important to say that I know that we both, that I have a lot of privilege as well in terms of what size is my body. Am I being perceived as a threat? I mean, I think there are many reasons why trans women of color are victims and targets of hate crimes the way that they are, and if we don't address, maybe not in this show, but like for the next one or something, around anti-Black racism in our community and in the nation, and how that contributes to hate crimes too.
Absolutely. And well, just to take a little breather, because our topic is getting a little serious, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Work to Future, once again for making the show possible. Work to Future provides services for the youth in the Santa Clara County, and what they do is they provide jobs or internships, paid internships, guys. And Chopsticks Alley is a partner with Work to Future. So if you would like to come work for Chopsticks Alley and be a contributor, a writer, an animator, videographer, etc., we are accepting applications right now. And so you can feel free to send an email to chopsticksalley@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook. And we also have a podcast and Instagram. And for our podcast, recently we just have one, and it's called Hai Bà Trưng. It's very interesting. It's a historical one. And we would love for interns to help us produce these shows. And with Work to Future, if you go to their website, it's work, the letter 2, future, the number 1.org. You can get a lot more information. But again, if you are forgetful, like I am, you can always send an email to Chopsticks Alley and we'll point you in the right direction. So thank you so much, Work to Future. Back to our topic, let's talk about our parents and how it's so difficult for them to understand. And so there's this generation gap, if you will, and language gap. If you could share some of that. I'm curious about yours because of your coming out story. Maybe you can share your coming out story and then share with the audience like how difficult or how easy it was.
Okay, I mean, it's true that I think in comparison to a lot of my friends that in many ways I had a relatively easy coming out, but that doesn't mean that I had zero fear. And it actually took me, I only came out maybe in the last year or two in words to my mom and even to my dad. But because before I came out, I thought in my behavior how I said it, but I actually didn't think that it was so important to say it in words because I didn't know the words. Maybe I knew them in English, but I was like, is it relevant to my parents or not? And so for a long time I didn't come out until I was much older.
And when you came out, you said your mom was like, oh, cool. Was she like that? Was she like, I was new? Or it's okay, I love you, honey? Or I hate your guts? I mean, what was that?
No, I came out kind of in a bold way. I was with my partner, and I was like, and my partner gave me a kiss on the cheek, and my mom didn't blink an eye. I said, Mom, did you see what just happened? And she's like, yeah. And she just kept talking about whatever. And I was like, Mom. And
so maybe she always knew?
When I ask her, she says no, because I think that's part of my identity as well. I was also happy with dating cisgender men. I mean, yes and no, there also was a part of me that was missing, but because it still made sense with my mom.
Mm-hmm. I see. Yeah. And what about you?
I think I remember every time that I make a call, to talk to my parents, right? Because my parents live in the Midwest. Maybe same story. He asked how you doing, how's your job, you have a girlfriend yet, which is repeatedly every single week to the point that I scared to talk to my dad every time I call home. I said, oh my God, that I'm not, dad didn't pick up the phone so I can talk to someone else. But then until one day, the conversation just come up because the same question had come up. So I told him, I didn't came out directly, but I said, oh, if I'm not going to get married, so what do you think? So and then what he asking, and then the conversation kept moving on, right? So I remember I came out, it's around the Thanksgiving, and then Christmas when I came home. Back then when I was with my partner, and then my partner and I went back to see my family, and then and my dad just silenced, try to do the silent treatment kind of thing. And the day before I, came back to the California, and my dad said, "Oh, I don't want you to bring, your partner back in the house anymore." Which they said, "Okay," I didn't say anything. So we went, so kind of, for a while, and then my sister know and everybody knows. So they talked to my dad and say, "Okay, either you need to accept him the way who he is, or you will lose him." So which is my dad, slowly he accepted, which is I can understand for being like my parents at that age, because I think in terms of the gay term, it's never crossed their mind in their life, and suddenly they live up to when they're 60, almost 70, and then they heard, those terms. So it's really like the big thing for them. So it's really difficult for them to accept. So which is, I totally understand. So I give them some time, to digest about it, So but now, luckily, everybody, my dad is okay with this, and everybody in the family cool with it. So
Well, thank you for sharing both your stories. I'm thankful also that your family is accepting of you. I think that when our family's not accepting of us, it's difficult, but also we can do the flip side, which is what you did, is it's difficult for them because they've not heard the term, they don't understand it. It's not like it's all over in Vietnam when they grew up, so it's all new for them. It takes time to absorb it. Right? And so, how do you encourage that intergenerational dialogue then? So let's say I'm 20 and I decide to come out to my parents. I have no idea how I'm going to do this. What do you think is the best thing to do? Either one of you. Just come out and say it.
I think always it's to make sure that you're safe, and that means different things for different people. But I definitely think there are resources, especially online, about different steps to take around. Maybe you need to pack a bag. Maybe you have another plan in place.
So one thing that I want to add on is coming out is a very complicated process. It doesn't mean that one person come out that you need to come out. Because it depends on you, on your circumstances, on your situation. So you need to prep yourself in order to come out. So it's a really, I would say that for other people need to understand, a person doesn't come out yet. It doesn't mean that they don't want to reveal their sexuality, but it's just because the family environment, the society, doesn't allow them to have that safe environment to come out to become who they are.
Yes, go ahead.
And also that even for me, coming out is not just one time. Coming out to my mom, coming out to my dad, coming out to this friend or that friend, and this cousin, this aunt. There's so many times, and then every single time still with a new job, am I coming out or not? Luckily now, I am applying to the jobs that I have. My identity is very much at the forefront, but that was not always the case. When I write a resume, I'm like, oh, do I want to say it or not?
Right. Especially with your name, right? Jack, Nguyễn, Victor. So if one were to read that, they would assume you're male, right? And then you show up, it's like, well, what, right? So these are I imagine that these are the thoughts that you're going through, that most of us never think about. Although with the Vietnamese name, that could also be, right? So a name like Trami, I don't know, people sometimes they call me Mr. Those marketing calls me, speak to Mr. Trami, okay, click. But not to make light of it, but I can imagine it's for fun. So speaking of safety, have you seen this? Yeah. So this is really cool because today the Chopsticks Alley team just learned that in Washington they put up this kind of sign at all the stores to indicate to the LGBTQIA community that it's a safe zone. So it would be so neat if we could start this all over the U.S. In California, in San Jose. If you believe that this is a safe zone for all genders, post this up at your storefront or at your work site, and if people ask you about it, you can share this information with them, and it just gives it a really positive feeling that we're accepting of everyone, right? Have you seen this sign out there?
I see some, some stores and some agencies, yes, they do put on the sign on.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So tell us about Pride, Pride Parade. Like I know there's coming up in San Francisco on the 25th, it's Pride Parade. Yeah. Are you planning to participate?
Yes, I plan we'll be there to support the community. Yeah. That's
wonderful. Now, usually people go all dressed up, and do you have to be dressed up when you go, or?
No, I think it's the part of the parade that it's just celebrate who you are, right? So if you want to dress up, you can be whoever that you want, right? So the whole parade meaning is try to against the discrimination, violence. Try to promote the equality and make sure that everybody is equally. So so you can be
whoever you
want to be. Yeah, express yourself.
So I can go and express myself.
Yes.
What about you, Jack? Are you gonna go?
I hope so. One of the things I love about Pride Month is there are so many events, and so there are many to choose from, which I think is so lucky to have here in the Bay Area.
Yeah. And also resources, right? If you could share some of the resources with our audience, like I know you run or you're in charge or you're part of Bữa Ăn Tiếng Việt and also Dig and Demand. If you could share what all that is for our audience.
So Bữa Ăn Tiếng Việt is the Vietnamese dinner I told you about earlier, and it wasn't explicitly intended for queer and trans Vietnamese people, but it became this sort of safe haven because we needed each other.
And how does a person look up this? Is there a website? Is there a Facebook page? What is the
Facebook?
Facebook. And what do they type in?
Bữa Ăn Tiếng Việt.
Bữa Ăn Tiếng Việt. So I think we're going to share that on our website or on our Facebook later, so you can see the spelling for those who don't write in Vietnamese. And then Dig and Demand.
Yeah. So I'm the director of Dig and Demand, which stands for Queer, Trans, Diasporic Vietnamese Artists for Justice. And it's a space where we are digging for our truth and to be who we really are, and demanding for justice through the arts, using the earth, like eco-justice, using a trauma-informed lens, meaning we honor our wounds between ourselves and our parents and the greater world, and also liberation psychology, which means that our psychology and our political survival are very much tied together. And we do it in a way that is playful and accessible.
Oh, great. And people just look up Dig and Demand, or that's a phrase? Okay. And what about you?
I think that one of the agency that I can think of right now is, have you ever heard of Billy DeFrank?
No.
Is that the agency that they promote it is for LGBTQ population, for they have the group, they have the support for youth and all kind of that. You can look it up, you can Google it.
Billy
DeFrank.
How do you spell it?
It's a Billy.
Billy Day.
Yeah.
Billy Billy.
And DE.
DE.
And then Frank.
And then Frank.
Yeah. So you can Google that, and then they have all the services for the LGBTQ population, adult and children. Youth.
Thank you so much. Do you have any last thought for our audience?
Well, I would like to say that I would like to acknowledge the parent who is have the gay or lesbian child. It's difficult, but the child is also difficult too. So when they come out to you, try to not react right away, but maybe get some support and then work it out slowly. And also when you figure out your child is wherever they are, try to look at them as a whole person, not just their sexual orientation only. Look at the good thing, the good side of them, the strength, the good thing they do in school, they do for society, and try to open mind and accept them who they are.
That's great advice, thank you.
The greatest gift that my mom gave to me was to let me know that I am wanted on this earth. I belong, that I will be accepted in my successes and my mistakes. And all I want in the world is for more of us to have that and to give that on the individual level, but also the policy level, that our laws and our society society reflect that kind of unconditional love to be who we are.
I so appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming today. And we'd like to thank our sponsor, Work to Future, for making this happen for us. So check out worktofutures1.org for more information. And for Chopsticks Alley, look up our podcast on SoundCloud. Just type in Chopsticks Alley. And check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And send us an email for future topic ideas, or if you have questions or even complaints. But don't send those to us. We don't want them. No. chopsticksalley@gmail.com. And it's been such a wonderful show today. And we just want to remind you that what you think about, you bring about. So think good thoughts so that your future could be bright. And also think about love and connection and just, accept people for who they are. All right? Thanks, everybody. Bye.